Patrick DeMarco. He was a fullback from Atlanta. He blocked for Antonio Freeman, and he blocked for Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. As you can see, the two dynamic duo running backs from the Atlanta Falcons who took him to the Super Bowl. And so what you gotta realize that the Bills is a run heavy team, and they led by LaShawn McCoy, which they led the league the last 2 years in rushing. And they also got a new good offensive coordinator, Rick Dennisman. He got a zone blocking scheme. With DeMarco, he will play a big part in making sure that this Bills team reclaim their rushing title in the second consecutive year. So I think that was a good pickup. He's going to be a great lead blocker for LaShawn McCoy, and I expect this running game not to take a step back, even though they lost Michael Galli to the New England Patriots. They also signed running back / fullback Mike Tolbert from the Carolina Panthers. He's a big bulldozing back. He's 5'9", 250. He's the type of back that can pick up crucial chunk of yards in crucial situations. So I think that was a good pickup. He'll be a great third down back for him, especially when it's cold in New York and Buffalo, New York, and they need a half a yard and it's third and fourth down. He's going to be a big factor to that team. He's going to take a lot of pressure off LaShawn McCoy. I look forward to him contributing to that Buffalo Bills backfield, and they might be the leading rushing team this year with the signing of DeMarco and Tolbert. They also signed kicker Steven Haszewski. Steven Haszewski from Seattle. He's a great kicker. You got to figure Dan Carpenter last year, he had a horrible season with him, and the Bills really addressed their need by signing Stevenson to a 3-year deal. And I guarantee you, he'll put them. He gonna put this kicking situation to rest. Listen to these stats. It's kind of weird though. He connected on 9 of 11 field goals from 40 plus last year, in the area where Dan Carpenter struggled. But he led the league in misses with extra attempts. With 7, he has 7 misses and extra point attempts. But overall, he got a strong enough leg for that weather in Buffalo, and he's going to get them confidence once they're able to get into the opponent's territory. I don't think it will be any problem. That was another great pickup by McDermott. He's doing a great job on paper so far with the Buffalo Bills. They also signed defensive end Ryan Davis from the Baltimore Ravens. And with the Bills transitioning from the same thing the Browns transitioning from the 3-4 to the 4-3 scheme, meaning that some players will see their positions and role change. But Larry Hughes and besides Larry Hughes and Shaq Lawson, the Bills lack depth at the defensive end position. Davis, he signed a 2-year deal. He's 6'2". 275. He gonna be a viable rotation player with them, and he can also play as a base end, like on early downs, and kick inside. You know what I'm saying, to defensive tackle and some sub packages. He has a lot of quicknesses and his strength, and he's a quality pass rusher for the Bills. So that was a great pickup for them. He's a very versatile player, and he's quick. And he's going to be a great rotation player. Ryan Davis was a great pick for him. He also signed former Ohio State player Corey Philly Brown, wide receiver from Carolina. He's going to add some more depth to this wide receiving core with the losses of Robert Woods and Marquise Goodwin. And free agency, he's 5'10", and he's going to compete for playing time in that in that slot position. He caught 27 passes for 276 receiving yards, He also can be used on special teams as a punt returner. He averaged 9.5 yards per punt return. He had 1 touchdown, so that's going to give him some more depth in the special teams, which he is a great special team player. Him and Ted Ginn was down in Carolina together, so I think he's going to give Buffalo some versatile in the punt return game and also in the slot. He just got to learn how to catch the ball sometimes. I know he's an Ohio State player, and I don't like talking about my Buckeyes, but the truth is the truth. They also signed wide receiver Jeremy Butler. He also came from the Ravens. The reason why he signed with Buffalo was for quarterback Tyrod Taylor. But Butler, he's 6'2", 213, and he figures to compete for a starting spot in training camp. He caught 31 passes for 361 yards, and he also played 4 games with the Los Angeles Chargers. So he's going to get him some versatile on the end. He's going to compete for a starting spot. So Buffalo going to have a good training camp for as wide receivers and secondary and special teams. They're going to have a lot of training camp battles. And they led by head coach Sean McDermott, offensive coordinator Rick Dennisman, defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, the new GM Brandon Bean. They fired their old GM Doug Maroney the day after the draft, and I don't think that was a good decision on the Bills, but I think the timing wasn't good, but I think it was a right to fire him because he really didn't have a good season with the Bills in the last 4 seasons as GM. Whaley, he was 30-34. It was 1 year in 2014. He finished 9-7, but they missed the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills postseason drought is just like the Browns, 17 years, and last year they finished 7-9. So I think that was a right decision, but the timing was wrong. But I kind of feared what they did because he was kind of the scout for him, and he scouted the players, so they basically used him, and they fired his whole scouting staff too. So that's not good either. I mean, but coming in as a player, if you're a Buffalo Bills player, that just make you with some extra motivation because this new GM Brandon Bean, you know you not his guy, so you gonna have to show him why they believed in you. And you gonna have to show him why did the front office believe in you, and you gonna have to play harder. And I just think that the timing was wrong, but it was the right thing to do. And the Bills, as a player, just gonna have to work hard, and I think they will. I think Sean McDermott was a great pick in Buffalo. He actually deserved to be a head coach, but. Speaking of Brandon Beam, he was assistant GM for the Carolina Panthers. He spent all 20 years of his career with the Panthers, so he deserved to be a GM. And remember, him and McDermott they coached together in Carolina, so that was kind of a great pickup for Buffalo. I know he had a say-so in that decision. It makes a lot of sense. And so, Buffalo, I think on paper they did a great job. I think it's going to take some time because of that GM and the scouting team. I think it's going to take them a time to get on the same page. Not so much long term, but short term because this is not his players. But other than that, I think it was a great pickup. I think the Bills is heading in the right direction on paper. They had a great free agency. I give their free agency a B+. I like the secondary picks, and I like the wide receiver picks. And I also like that fullback. That was a great pick because he's going to help LaShawn McCoy. And I look forward to the Bills being a contender, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year. So I will tell you their record after this. Stay tuned to the CV Sports Talk Show. We're going to get into the Buffalo Bills 2016 season stats. We're going to talk about their offensive stats and their defensive stats. And we also going to talk about they free agency losses. Some key free agency losses they lost this season. Stay tuned. Back in a minute. Welcome back to the CV Sports Talk Show. Look, we're gonna finish up with this segment talking about the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, we got into they draft picks and their free agency and they front office and their coaching staff. Now we're gonna end in they season stats of last year, and the Indians is winning 5-2. Top of the eighth, Andrew Miller is pitching 2 outs. So Carrasco went 7 innings. He gave up 2 runs. But let's get into the Buffalo Bills. Their 2016 offensive stats, they was 30th in passing yards with 3,036 yards. Total yards, they were 16th, 5,666 yards. Total points, they tied for 10th with 399 points with Pittsburgh. Their rushing yards, they was first with 2,630 yards. That's the reason why I say that they free agent signs and they draft picks of the wide receiver was great picks because they lacked a passing game last year. You got to remember, Sammy Watkins was hurt. He was hurt for 8 games. And so I think it was a great pickup, a Zay Jones and a free agent pickup. I like the pickup, Jeremy Butler and Corey Philly Brown. It's gonna give them some versatility in that wide receiver room, and it's gonna give them some targets, especially losing Robert Woods and Marquise Goodwin. They was big pieces for the wide receivers, of course. So I just think that's gonna help them big time.